The field known as animal-robot or animal-computer interaction has only been a part of mainstream interaction academia for about a decade, making it a relatively new field of study. Within such a new field, there are many opportunities for research and the conceptualization and realization of novel designs. Some recent studies have explored the possibility of robots caring for pets in the owner's absence. Anyone who has had pets can probably relate to the problem of what to do when you're forced to leave them at home for an extended period of time, whether for a day or a week. Pets require different kinds of care, including exercise, nutrition, and the opportunity to exercise bodily functions, at a minimum. One 2017 study examined the potential for a social robot like Pepper to facilitate feeding and exercise through play with a number of dogs. The results positively confirmed that robots are indeed capable of caring for most pet dogs in these ways. The pets ate from bowls of food provided by the robots and engaged in ball toss and retrieve play, although a small number of the dogs became afraid of the carrying robots after being startled by some quick movement on the robot's part. This indicated that gentle, slow movements should be utilized when possible. It would also be beneficial to test and normalize the animal's interaction with robots before leaving the pet in the care of a robot, but this idea may become commonplace in the near future. A number of studies are examining the animal's experience as a user interacting with computer interfaces, which should also translate to interactions with robots. One study out of the UK focused specifically on mobility assistance dogs that perform in a supportive role for people with disabilities, and the paper proposes a common methodology to assess how animals experience interfaces on behalf of their humans. Another article proposed that elements from play might be an interesting direction to take towards improving animal-computer interaction. Some reasoning behind this method includes the fact that play comes naturally to many animal species, and is not a new behavior that the animal must be coerced into in order to interact with a robot or computer, like pressing a button or using a swipe function would be. The authors also take care to point out, however, that sometimes animals engage in excessive amounts of play for different reasons, including social tensions or even due to breeding, and as such, care should be taken if implementing behaviors from play in the interface of a robot or computerized system. Some reasons for facilitating good user experiences between non-human animals and computers or robots are covered in another paper by Ralt and Huber. One reason is to facilitate better social interactions between animals in captivity, where relations might otherwise remain tense or hostile. Many animals are social creatures and require social interactions for various aspects of their happiness and survival, but they're often hesitant or unwilling to socialize with unfamiliar peers in captive environments. Robots placed in these environments could help animals to learn and practice social skills and encourage the animals to mingle and collaborate peacefully. Telepresence robots could keep animals from becoming depressed or experiencing spikes in stress levels in the absence of a partner or pack. It is possible that a social robot could eventually mimic another animal of the same species well enough to replace a missing or deceased companion animal. In 2018, 2 Australian researchers were awarded funding for their project, which aims to reseed vast areas of dead coral reef with larvae distributed by means of underwater robotic drones. The Great Barrier Reef has been gradually losing its battle with pollution and climate change for years, and large areas of coral reef are dying out or bleaching as the coral lose their food source. Coral are not what you might typically think of as traditional animals. They're fixed in one place or sessile, and often help to create habitats in which other animals coexist. But they are animals, not plants, and their food sources are very sensitive to the harmful byproducts of human civilization. When the food source dies out, the animal cannot survive. In order to reseed the dead reefs with living coral, the team first captures and grows coral larvae to maturity. They then utilize an underwater drone to glide along the reef and gently release the larvae in areas where there is a healthy food source and they have the best chance of surviving. Then they can spawn the next generation of coral themselves. It's a huge task, but advances in 3D printing are allowing for greater batches of coral larvae to be brought to maturity and distributed at a considerably improved cost. One recent review of animal-robot interaction publications focused strongly on the advancement of biohybrid organisms, or cyborgs. This can either refer to insects and other animals that have been surgically implanted with electronic devices that record various data and even control the creature, or it can refer to taking biological components from a living creature and incorporating them into otherwise robotic devices. The review also covered entirely robotic animals that are robust enough in their mimicry to convince members of the various species they mimic. Both are used for diverse purposes, sometimes to gain nuanced knowledge of some organic process of movement or form that evolution in nature has perfected, but they are often used to help us better understand the animals that the robots impersonate. One relatively simple robotic example is an experiment performed using the fish species known as golden shiners. 2 robot simulacra were placed among a group of golden shiners, one that remained unmoving and one that powered its tail for locomotion. The real fish were significantly more attracted to the dynamic model that used its tail, presumably because this offered them a hydrodynamic advantage over the static robot fish. Cyborg animals have been at the locus of remarkable achievements as well, such as having their intelligence augmented by computers. In 2016, a group of researchers attached electrodes to the brain of a rat and gave it a Bluetooth backpack which relayed data from a maze directly into the rat's brain. In this way, the rat was able to complete the maze without any foreknowledge of its route other than the directions sent directly to its brain via Bluetooth. They've also figured out how to directly control the rat's directional movements with electrical impulses and navigational training. They can tell the rats when to move forward, left, right, and when to stop. Some of the reasoning given for developing these cyborg control systems includes using rats with cameras attached to assist in disaster recovery, search and rescue, and landmine detection. Rats are not the only creatures to have been transformed in this way. Biorobots have been implemented on cockroaches, moths, sharks, geckos, and beetles as well.